Hi, welcome back to Linux. We're going to log into the Fedora Desktop today and look at some of the settings. So we've already created our account student when we installed Fedora in our last video. Now I'm going to select student and type the password. In this case, my password is password. Now, as soon as I type that, the virtual machine is resizing a little bit, and we'll look at some virtual machine options for that, mainly installing the right tool set or the guest editions. We're using VirtualBox in this case, so it is called guest editions. We'll look at that right after the desktop comes up. Okay, hard drive still cranking right along, and we are getting our desktop. You can see the hard drive light, the green and red down the bottom. And welcome. So we have English selected. I'll go ahead and choose Next. English US is already selected. Next. Location services on, automatic problem reporting on. That's fine. Next. And connect our online accounts. We can choose to do that now, or we don't have to. I'm not going to, because this is just a student account for our lab. The desktop will eventually come up as soon as we get through our initial configuration steps. So here we have getting started, launching applications, switching tasks, and responding to messages. All of these are great videos to watch right when you get started with Fedora. Click on these, and let's see if that comes up on the screen. Excellent. So it's going to walk you through the process here of getting through this Fedora desktop. I'm going to go ahead and close that video out. And check those out. This is a great way to become familiar with your desktop. I'm going to close that right there and click on Activities. Now, when I click on Activities, I get a couple of icons on the left-hand side of the screen here. We have our Firefox browser, our Evolution mail client, Rhythmbox for listening to music, Shotwell for picture, photo, image management, our files for clicking around the file system, and software, and this is for installing apps. And over here, Show Applications will bring up a large grid of apps in the middle of our screen. Give it just a second to refresh. There we go. So now we have a lot of apps here. We can also search for an app. Let's say we're looking for something like gedit. Typing's coming through a little slow here. I do have a slow system in this case, but it's also could be because we don't have the tools installed. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this out. And as soon as this closes back down, I'm going to exit out of this menu. When I go to Activities, you'll see on the right side of the screen, we have a couple of desktops. So I can click into these desktops or switch desktops or create new desktops, whatever I want to do. Right now, let's go ahead and click Devices at top and insert Guest Editions CD image. Installing the Guest Editions CD image is a great thing to do. Gives you a couple additional features as well as improves your performance and reporting. I'm going to say yes, go ahead and run this. In the past, we would run these things with the command line. Now, using the GUI is just fine. It said, I require authentication to install this application. It needs me to needs me to authenticate. So I've got student there, and I'm typing my password, and I'm choosing authenticate. Hopefully it'll go through, it'll find my kernel, everything will work fine, it'll install it, and we'll be done. If not, then I'll take this time to show how to fix the installation, and we'll go through the entire install. Give it a few more seconds and we'll look at that error. Okay, it's still cranking right along. The two errors on the screen, one is it's saying the GCC utility is missing, and the other is it's telling us that the development, all the little libraries and all the little parts of the kernel there are missing from the system too. So we're going to want to install GCC, and we're going to want to install this right here. This is kernel-devel-4.0.4, etc. Hopefully that is the right kernel and that matches what we're using right now. It doesn't always, so we may have to work around it. But hopefully it's going to work. First thing I'll do is I'll grab this right here, and then we'll go back and get GCC. Now I double-clicked the word for the kernel, and now I'm going to actually bring up a terminal. This is gnome-terminal. I double-clicked the words there that were on the screen. By double-clicking those, it should give me the ability to middle-click and paste them. Oh, where'd the terminal go? There we go. We'll start a terminal up. So now I'm going to sudo-s become a root user, which is actually I'm super user doing -s is starting to shell. I type my password. Okay, now I am a root user. And I'm going to yum install the kernel dash. Oh, I've got my terminal bell on. Look at that. So inside the terminal, this profile actually has the terminal bell enabled. We'll look at those preferences really fast because that's just so annoying. So I'll turn off the terminal bell, and I'll also change the colors. We'll change that to green on black. For scrolling, I want to allow unlimited scroll back, so I'm going to uncheck the limit scroll back option. So choose close. Now here, I'm hoping it's going to fill in the gaps here for the kernel. It doesn't seem to be. I'll try a yum update. Well, this could take a little time, so while I wait for a yum update to complete, next step we're going to do is we're going to type yum search, and so we go into yum search. We'll look for the development libraries for our running kernel. Okay, the update is just about done. Once this is done, we'll do a yum list and a yum search. Still have a few updates going on. Hopefully the system will be done shortly and we can continue. Part of the initial install, performing the updates or other processes can take a great deal of time if you've got a computer as slow as mine. In this case it says, hey, do you want to update all these? There are a bunch of things that need to be updated, and I'm going to say no, I don't want to update those because it would make this video about 2 hours long. So I'm going to go ahead and choose no, which the N is large, so I should just be able to press enter and abort the operation. So now we're going to do a yum search. We'll do kernel-devel like that, and we'll see what this is going to bring up for us. And it's telling us, hey, you should be using yum to DNF, or you should be using DNF. We're going to stick with yum right now because we're looking at the difference between Debian and a Red Hat-based convention. The newer videos are those people who want to pursue Red Hat in the future. then you can really get involved in those commands, and we'll touch on those commands, but you can look at those commands in the future. I think that maybe this is happening because of the lead developer that left Yum a number of years ago, and now they're just maybe getting rid of the yellow dog update manager. Okay, we have a development kernel right there, so let's go ahead and yum install. I'll middle click that right there. It's going to look for any dependencies and say, do you want to install this? And it is a different version than the one we were looking for. I'll go ahead and say yes, go ahead and install that. It'll download it off the internet, install it, and then we'll grab GCC. You can actually type both those in at the same time and have it install both apps one after the other sequentially, but we're going to do each step one step at a time. Okay, so we look at the kernel devel right there, 428.200. It is done downloading. It's now installing. As soon as that's installed, then I will grab GCC, and we will try again to install the VirtualBox guest editions. Okay, we're still waiting for the install to finish. Occasionally we'll see the hard drive blink red for, I believe, write, and green for read. Alrighty, now let's yum install GCC. Say yes, go for it. We can see up here it said, well, we're going to need some other things to go along with that. So it went ahead and grabbed those for us. It's going to download those and install them. Very convenient. Okay, making progress. Okay, it looks like we have GCC installed, and it is, well, downloaded, and it is installing right now. Okay, it is done, complete. So let's pop over and see if we have the, see if the DVD is still mounted. Go to devices. We'll try to insert that. And it says it's, it's already there. So if it's already there, then that's good enough. Let's find out where it is. I'm going to type mount and see what we have mounted and where. And right there we've got something under Run Media Student and VBox Editions. So I'll go ahead and CD to that directory, and we'll look inside of that. So what I just did is I highlighted that, middle clicked. That's the roller on your mouse. When you push down on that, that's a middle click. And I typed CD for change directory. Now I'm going to type LL, hopefully get a long listing format of this, and we can see what we need to run. There's one that says run as root. It's like, okay, well, I guess we could do that. We have VirtualBox Editions run. And there's autorun.sh. Well, we can try autorun. Why not? We'll just go ahead and // that, see what happens. Okay, not a lot happened with auto run. So let's do the run as root, / run as root. Oh no, that's not going to work either. Well, VBox Editions run. So we'll run that one right there. That looks like that's it. Now you may notice in some other distributions, this process is a little more seamless. In VirtualBox, we'll be able to install the additions, and VMware will be able to install the additions without any problems. On this distro we're using right now, there is a little more manual interaction required. So I want you to be ready for that, so when you experience this installing your virtual machines, you can walk through the process, or you can see what happened to me, so then you'll know what is going to happen to you in your environments. I also hope that you can see how I figure these things out, or how I click through the menus. By clicking through the menus and by trying to figure out what's going on, maybe you'll learn some techniques, or hey, maybe you'll learn where I do things wrong and you can fix it. All right, so what we got? We got a fail, building, doing non-kernel. What's the issue this time? It's saying when you do this, it wants that one. And oh, we got a packet TTY agent. Oh, that's not a packet. That's a PK TTY agent. Unable to register, authentication, gbus, org free, reply, yada, yada, yada. So now we're going to sit here and wait for this process again. While this is running, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control-Shift-N, which will give me a new window. Sudo-S to pop in as my student. And I'll go ahead and try this yum install kernel devel 404. We'll see if we can grab that. So far so good. I'm going to say yes, go for it. Hopefully it'll download the packages and we can get rid of any errors. It's nice to have a new installation without errors. I want my new installations to be as clean as they possibly can be, because as the years go on, we're going to create enough damage ourselves. So I'd like it to be as pristine as possible to start with. Okay, so we've got that installed now. Well, it's downloaded and now it's installing. I love the little progress bars here. Those are really helpful. And I'm being serious, I'm not being sarcastic. I really liked having a progress bar, something to see as opposed to the silence when you're installing some apps. So that's going through now. It says it is installed in now? No? How about now? No. Okay, well, we're still waiting. But as soon as that gets installed, we'll run the process again. Excellent. Okay, it is now complete. We have the kernel devel, that's the development kernel, I suppose. x86-64. Okay, we have the, let's see, x86-64, 404. That's what it's looking for over here. So we'll give this a shot yet again. VirtualBox Editions removes what it did get installed, and it's going to try to get a good clean install this time. If it does, we'll reboot, and we should have all of our features and our performance advantages on our virtual machine. And once again, it is great to install these tools because you do get additional performance improvements and additional features. So we want to be sure to get those installed. Now, tools if you're using VMware, or in this case, the VirtualBox Editions if we're using VirtualBox. It's taking its sweet old time right now, so we'll sit here and wait for the screen to refresh. There we go. Copying additional installer modules. Looks like it might be working this time, but we don't have a progress bar. It's just kind of sit there and wait. So we just kind of sit here and hope something happens. Here's a little bit of the moment of truth as we have the building the VirtualBox Guest Editions kernel modules. As it builds the kernel modules, we'll see if these actually get built by the system and installed, inserted. All right, didn't give me an okay, didn't give me a failed. It looks like it might be working. We'll give it a little more time. Okay, we're making some progress here. The main Guest Editions module did install and did get built, inserted, it looks like. It's building the shared folder support module, which is great. Looks like we're going to get all the features in this one, and that means we'll have a pristine install. That's good news. OpenGL support module, non-kernel setup. VirtualBox Guest Editions starting up, said it was okay. So everything does look good. We're just waiting for this script to finish. Once it's done, we'll be good to go. Okay, we have an error on the screen. I don't think it's something that really impacts us. It looks like it's something from a call to the GNOME desktop that's just not reading correctly. But right now, it looks like everything worked. So good news. We'll reboot the system. Once we reboot, we should have our desktop and all of the new features. One way to reboot, we're already root because we did the sudo-s. We can just type reboot. When we reboot, it will automatically unmount the CD-ROM drive. We don't have to worry about that. We can go up to devices at top and do that. And we can just wait for this machine to restart. So there we go. We've got Fedora 22 counting down and getting ready to start. Wait for our machine to start up here. Almost there. Looking good so far. We'll see if anything fails. Okay, we are back to the login where we can type student, our password, and it should sign us into our desktop. So from what we can tell right now, the VirtualBox additions did install correctly, and we do have the features and the performance improvements over not having it. I'm going to click devices up here and be sure that nothing's inserted. So I'm going to choose remove disk from virtual drive there. Click if anything's there, and we'll just choose force unmount. Activities. There we go. We've got our desktops. We have our applications. Welcome to the Fedora Desktop. So from now on, we'll be installing applications probably mostly from the command line, and we'll be looking at some command line options. That's all there is to getting Fedora up and running and getting VirtualBox installed, the VirtualBox additions installed.